Hey guys, it's me, Mrs. Scott, and today is Monday, March 23rd. Not really, I'm really doing it before, but you should be doing this on Monday, March 23rd. We're about to start looking at a news story, and there's a couple more literary terms that you need to know before we start that. And the first one is called dialect. If you have done your previous lesson on Friday with Waltzing Matilda, you had a little sample of that. So, dialect is a certain way of speaking that is characteristic of a certain place or a group of people. Y'all come back now, you hear? Where's that from? I bet you can tell. G'day, mate, and sup, bro. They're all refer to different groups of people. Here's a comic for you. Charmed, hairy old chap, let's have a goblet of tea. Hogwarts, if you haven't guessed by now, this is how people in Britain talk. And I was like, LOL, is that short for lollipop? It means laugh out loud. Funny, it means funny. We had our own slang, but now they have their own language. What's next? A new alphabet? It is true that texting is kind of a new language, and oftentimes grown-ups have no clue what things mean. A foreign language is tough enough to learn without having to learn dialects. So, get it? You have to learn the way different dogs bark. If you come from different parts of the country, you might speak differently. Depending on where you live, you might say yuns, yous, you all, yis. Some of these I've never heard of, but they're different forms of the same word, dialect. You say tomato, and I say you're wrong. Some people say tomato, some people say tomato. This is kind of an interesting one. What people call things from different parts of the world. In the north, it's string beans. In the south, it's snap beans. And in the Midland, it's green beans. Faucet, spigot, a chipmunk, a ground squirrel. An Aussie and an Aussie gentleman. G'day, mate. Pleased to make your acquaintance. Want a cuppa? Would you care for some tea? I'll leave these up so you can go through them later. I, yes, do, whose, house, mother, all right. Who you gannin'? How are ya? Very interesting. Where's the nearest bar? Oh, they've been hibernating for weeks. Get it? He's looking for he thinks he said bear. This one should look familiar, depending on what part of the country you're from. You call carbonated beverages something different. You'll no talk to me like that, mon. You're a wee haggis and you got your trousers on backwards if you think we're passing that load of tripe. Scotland. Please, mate, bung us some dosh for the dog and bone. I don't understand. I only speak English. I think he needs money for the payphone. The next thing we're going to talk about is allusion, and this is a reference to something in culture, literature, sports, or history that people share. If you don't understand the background, you might not know what it means to pull a Charlie Gordon. Seventh graders would not know that because they haven't read the story yet. Hopefully you have watched the video on allusion first, and I'm just going to walk you through some more cartoons and see if you can guess what they're referencing. There's a bird, a very big bird that crashes on the house. It must have been a hummingbird. They're referring to the Hummer, the big car, and a hummingbird. Nevermore, nevermore. He says it, but he doesn't mean it. Nevermore, nevermore. What did I tell you? So, as you probably know, I think we talked about in this class, this is a reference to Edgar Allan Poe's poem, The Raven. Kid walks up to his sister and says, well, so how's Jenny, Forrest? Electric clippers are like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get. It's referencing Forrest Gump. If you haven't watched that movie, that's a cool thing to do while you are not at school. This one, the guy's singing the song from Titanic, near, far, wherever you are, I believe that the heart does go on. Once more, you've opened the door and you're here in my heart. And there's his sister saying tape recorder, $39.99. Blank tape, $4.99. The look on Michael's face when I play this recording in class today, priceless. This is in reference to an old MasterCard credit card commercial. What do you got? A witch's outfit and a puddle of water, detective. Here's some charred fibers, maybe from a broom. I've got law and pipe prints over here, sir. CSI Oz. Get it? What are you reading? A book on the women's workforce during World War II. How is it? Riveting. So if you say something is riveting, it means you are really engaged in it. This is a reference to Rosie the Riveter, because in World War II, women had to go to work and they did things like put planes together with rivets. It's a metal thing that goes on. And so this is a reference to that. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this year's spring training opener. Please stand with me for the singing of our national anthem. All set, kid? Hit it, man. What key? Francis Scott. Wait for it. Anybody know what it's for? Any of you band people know what this is referring to? Francis Scott Key wrote the national anthem. See what you've been missing about cartoons? Who can tell me what Montezuma was famous for? Johnny? The bottled water industry? This is a reference to the Aztec, I think, king Montezuma. And the big joke is that when you go south to a foreign country, oftentimes you get diarrhea. And so you're supposed to drink bottled water. And the myth says that Montezuma was angry at the white men for coming to the country and taking all their stuff. And so he cursed them. And yes, they spelled school wrong. I can't help thinking there's more you could do with this movable type idea of yours, Mr. Gutenberg. So you can see the kid playing on the floor with the blocks. Gutenberg invented the printing press, which changed the world as we know it, because people could print books in volume and read. So this is a reference to the printing press. Who can tell me how Van Gogh lost his ear? We're back in school again. Johnny? He lent it to Mark Antony. This is referencing two different things. Van Gogh apparently cut his ear off and mailed it to somebody. Weird guy that he is. He's a very famous artist. And Mark Antony is one of Shakespeare's characters in Julius Caesar. He says, sorry, little brain dead there. In one of his speeches, he says, please lend me your ears, meaning, will you listen to me while I speak? This one we're just going to go by. Okay, kids on the stool there, on his table, saying, well, I give up. I can't compete with TV and the internet. Trying to get people interested in literature and drama these days is like tilting at windmills. She says, huh? This is a reference to Don Quixote, a very famous story. It's about a crazy guy, and he thinks windmills are monsters, and he's going to go and fight them. Well, talk about irony. This guy worked for the Environmental Protection Agency. Bears are having a feast. You load 16 tons, and what do you get? Another day older and deeper in debt. This is a famous song about the coal miners who had to buy things from the company store and worked very hard, and the store prices were so high that they just kept getting deeper and deeper in debt. So that's what that is a reference to. And then the grandma is saying, must you start in with the dramatics every time I ask you to take out the trash? So he's exaggerating the extent of his chores. Hopefully you get this one without my explanation. Hamlet is a very famous Shakespeare play. This one is a science one. I had to ask somebody what it meant. Maybe you'll know. It says ready, set, tweet. And all these balls are bouncing everywhere. It says CERN has their Large Hadron Collider. We have dodgeball. This looks a little like Higgs boson. So you can Google that because I have no clue. Stop whining about your heart. Your selfish addiction to fossil fuels is endangering all of us. So most of you know the Wizard of Oz. All right, we're going to do metaphors another time. You can look ahead if you want. I'm going to post this whole PowerPoint on Google Classroom for today, as well as another one. When you're done watching the video and looking at this, there's a little quiz that you can take, and each cartoon is numbered. So if you would just go in and write the number down and write down what device you think is being used, that would be cool. That is your assignment for today. See you next time.